Hello guys, welcome back to the second part of the most wanted question in IELTS. Why am I calling it the most wanted question? Because it appeared 8 times in the IELTS exam. In my previous video, I spoke about the most wanted passage and showed how to solve it. So if you haven't watched that previous video, then my request to you would be please go and watch that video. I will leave the link in the description. So in today's video, we will discuss and solve the remaining portion of the passage, and now let's start the video. Now let's read paragraph B. This Dinosaur was the first king and the third dynasty of Egypt and the first to build in stone. Prior to Dinosaur reign, tombs were rectangular monuments made by dried clay brick which covered underground passages where the deceased person was buried. Means whoever died was buried in that pyramid. The design of the pyramid was what? Rectangular. Let's underline. Let's highlight it. Design of the monument was rectangular. Before Dinosaur was the king. After Dinosaur, what happened was, for reason which remain unclear, Dinosaur main official, whose name was Imhotep, convinced of building a taller, more impressive tomb for his king by stacking stone slabs on top of one another, progressively making them smaller to form the shape of now, which is known as step pyramid. It was first convinced that this idea was given by whom? Imhotep. Who was he? He was the main official of Dinosaur. So he gave this idea to build pyramid. Now you see the pyramid. The idea was given by Imhotep. Dinosaur is thought to have reigned for 19 years, but some historians and scholars attribute a much longer time for his rule, owing to the number and size of monument he built. What are they talking about in this paragraph? Let's now find in the passage if there is anything about that. I can see a option here, number 7, an idea for changing the design of burial structure. The burial structure means the pyramid where they used to bury the remain dead people. So they're talking about to change the design. Who insisted to change the design? Imhotep. He suggested that we should build more taller monuments that are, I think they get smaller as you move upwards. So this was the idea given by Imhotep. So number 7 is the correct option for paragraph B. Then cancel out the number 7. Now let's move on to paragraph C. The step pyramid has been thoroughly examined and investigated over the last century, and it is now known that the building process went through many different stages. Historian Mark van der Meerop comments on this, writing, much experimentation was involved, which is especially clear in the construction of the pyramid in the center of the complex. It had several plans before it became the first step pyramid in history, piling 6 levels on top of one another. The weight of the enormous mass was challenging for the builders, who placed the stone at an inward incline in order to prevent the monument breaking up. Now they're talking about how they built up this monument. Let's see if there is any option that matches this. I think let's read the options. The area and artifacts within the pyramid itself, a difficult task for those involved. I think this is the answer exactly, because it was a difficult task for who was involved. See, it had several plans before it became piling 6 levels on top of another. The weight of enormous mass was challenging for the builders. The weight of the mass was challenging for the builders. This is the answer. So what is the answer? Number 2. To paragraph C, the answer is number 2. Now let's answer this option. Let's move on to the 4th paragraph. When finally completed, the step pyramid was 62 meters high and was the tallest structure of its time. It was the tallest structure of that time. The complex in which it was built was the size of the city in ancient Egypt. It included a temple, courtyard, shrines, living quarters for the priest. It covered a region of 16 hectares and was surrounded by a wall of 10.5 meters. The wall is very huge. The wall had 13 false doors. How many? 13 false doors cut into it, and with only one true entrance cut into the southwest corner. The entire wall was then ringed by a trench 750-meter long and 40-meter wide. It was ringed all over. The false door and the trench was incorporated with the complex to discourage unwanted visitor. If someone wished to enter, he or she would have needed to know in advance how to find the location of the true opening in the wall. Dinosaur was so proud of his accomplishment that he broke the tradition of having only his own name on the monument and had in Hope's name carved on it as well. See, it is a very important line. He not only had his name on the monument but also had in Hope's name, because he was the one who suggested for this type of structure. And let's move on to the options. So area and architect within the pyramid itself, not within the pyramid, there is not all or anything. The king who saved his life, no. An overview of the external building and area. See, in the paragraph there speaks about the external area. It was covered by 16 hectares and it included a temple, a courtyard, a shrines, a living quarter for the priests. It is talking about everything that is outside the pyramid. Now let's move on to the option. The correct option is 5. The option D is 5. This is how you proceed on to the match the heading type of questions. Now let's move on to the 5th paragraph. The burial chamber of the tomb where the king's body was laid to rest was dug beneath the base of the pyramid, surrounded by a vast maze of long tunnels that had room of them to discourage robbers. One of the most mysterious discovery was found inside the pyramid was a large number of stone vessels. Over 40,000 of these vessels of various form and shapes were discovered in storeroom of the pyramid's underground passages. They were inscribed with the name of the ruler from the 1st and 2nd dynasty of Egypt and made from different kind of stone. There is no agreement among scholars and archaeologists on why the vessel were placed in the tomb of Dinosaur, or why they were supposed to represent. What was this supposed to represent? The archaeologist Jean-Philippe Laurie, who excavated most of the pyramid and complex, believe they were originally stored and then given a proper burial by Dinosaur in his pyramid to honor his predecessors. There were other historians, however, who claimed the vessels were dumped into the shaft as yet another attempt to prevent grave robbers from getting to the king burial chamber. So there is two possible reasons for this, for getting the vessels inside where the Dinosaur was buried. One can be that Dinosaur was wanting to show respect to his previous kings, to show honor to his previous kings, or it may be also to prevent from robbers getting into the king burial chamber. So let's now see what can be the correct option. Area and architect within the pyramid. The king who saved his life. A king who saved his life. A pyramid design that others copied. An incredible experience despite of few remains. Answer to some expected questions. So what do you think? What can be the correct option? Area and artifact within the pyramid itself. See, they're talking about, what are they talking about in the paragraph? They're talking about it had rooms, a lot of rooms before entering into the burial of the king, and it also had a lot of vessel and various form of shape. They're talking about what was found inside the room. So this is option 1. E is option 1. So let's now cancel this. And how many is remained? Number 3 is remaining. 6, 8 and 9. Now there is only 2 paragraphs and 4 options left. Unfortunately for all the precaution and indirect design of the underground network, they did not prevent ancient robber from finding a way in. Dinosaur's grave, goods and even his body were stolen at some point in the past, and all archaeologists found were a small number of valuables overlooked by the thieves. There was enough left throughout the pyramid and its complex, however, to astonish and amaze the archaeologists who excavated it. See, the answer is in the last line. However, to astonish and amaze the archaeologists who excavate it. So let's move on to the options. An incredible experience despite of few remains. See, when you move to the last few paragraphs of the passage, then it becomes more easier for you to find the answer. So it is the answer. The last paragraph. Egyptologist Mark Solev Werner writes, a few monuments holds a place in human history as significant as that of Step Pyramid in Saqqara. It can be said without exaggeration that this pyramid complex constitutes a milestone in the evolution of monumental stone architecture, and in Egypt and in the world as a whole. The Step Pyramid was a revolutionary advance in architecture and became the archetype which all the other great pyramid builder of Egypt would follow. Looking at the paragraph, let's move on to the option. Option left are 3. Option left is 3, 6 and last one 9. So what can be the answer? Pyramid design that others copied, a king who saved his life. This cannot be the answer because we have not talked about anything that saved the life. So this is automatically cancelled out. Answer to some unexpected questions. Was there any answer to the unexpected questions? Now let's read the last line. The Step Pyramid was a revolutionary advance in the architecture and became the archetype for all other great pyramid builder in the Egypt would follow. Means next the future pyramid builders would follow this way of making pyramids. So they were obviously going to copy the way it was made. So 6 is the right answer. So this is the right answer. So the left, what is left? Number 3 is left and number 9 is left. So there will always be few options left in the end, so don't worry about that. So if you are new around this channel, then a sub to the channel would be wonderful. So yeah, till then, stay safe, stay healthy. Bye.